It is a pleasure to be with you on a Friday, December the 6th. The weekend beckons, and we have reached the end of our week. We are happy that the weekend is on the horizon, but we have 2 hours of Bruce Hooley Show to go, and then the Aptus Retirement Blueprint Radio Show tonight. So lots of headlines regarding Pete Hegseth and Joni Ernst, the person in the U.S. Senate who has emerged as a sticking point in Pete Hegseth's appointment as Secretary of Defense. If Joni Ernst does not support him, there will be other Republican senators other than Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins who will not support him. And so her support is important, but she's indicative of, I would say, based upon what I've researched in the last day or so, a vestige of the Republican Party that is losing its power. And that might be why she's trying to flex whatever muscle that she has. We will get into that. We will talk about the House Select Committee's final report on COVID, which basically the Cliff Notes version is everything you were told was a conspiracy theory about COVID is true. Everything you were told that was true about COVID was not true. About the vaccines, about the boosters, about herd immunity, about masking, about 6 feet of separation. All of it was untrue. Will there be consequences for that? Well, not if Joe Biden issues preemptive pardons. And where did that idea come from? You will not be surprised, likely, to know that the place where it came from is the person who's largely responsible for Joe Biden being president in the first place. We'll detail all of it for you today here on the Bruce Hooley Show. But let's start with some local news. We had a shooting incident overnight near the Ohio State campus. Columbus Police, Ohio State University Police, both investigating it. It happened at the UDF location where there was a Mercedes with a guy in it who pulled out a gun and fired. One of the bullets ended up in the window of the UDF, and that suspect fled the scene. They do not have him in custody. He is described as a young black male. So we've had a guy murdered in the campus area on the day of an Ohio State football game. We've had an array of incidents on campus that certainly make nervous the parents of students who attend Ohio State. We've not yet had a student killed, but if this continues in this fashion, and the police are not to blame for this, this is the culture that we are in right now. But we are hopefully never going to have to detail here the death of a student on the Ohio State campus. But boy, these kinds of incidents make you wonder if that will hold up. Now, we have covered for you and provided you the only access to the police use of force expert who was consulted by the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office in the case against Adam Coy, the conviction of Adam Coy. Adam Coy was convicted of felonious assault, murder, and reckless homicide in the December 2020 shooting death of 47-year-old Andre Hill. That verdict was issued on November the 5th. Turns out that on October the 31st, the lead prosecutor in the case, Anthony Pearson, submitted his resignation to Franklin County Prosecutor Gary Tyak. They asked him to stay on, and he will be staying on until December the 20th. But this is interesting, and I know there's going to be a tendency for people to say, well, given the fact that Pearson and the other prosecutor in the case did not notify the defense that they had spoken to a police shooting expert from Las Vegas who essentially told them what they didn't want to hear. He told them, I think that Adam Coy acted within his parameters as a police officer, that there was a reasonable, he believed, and his actions show that there was a reasonable threat on his life when he fired his weapon at Andre Hill. That's not what the prosecution wanted to hear, and so they did not call that expert to the stand. They called another expert to the stand who told them what they wanted to hear, and they got their conviction against Adam Coy. Well, the problem with that is that you are required to tell in the discovery process of a trial, you are required to tell the defense anything that you as the prosecution have discovered, even if it benefits the defense. It's got a big word for it. It's called exculpatory evidence, okay? But the prosecution, it's alleged, did not do that. Anthony Pearson would be the guy who would have at least been in on the denial of that information to the defense. Is that why he's resigning? I don't think that's the only reason, and certainly it would not insulate him from criticism, but I don't know if it would insulate him from sanctions or not, if in fact this is what the judge finds in the case, and the judge is still deliberating on whether Adam Coy is entitled to a new trial or not. The reason why, in my estimation, Anthony Pearson is leaving the Franklin County Prosecutor's office is because he tried to succeed Gary Tyack as Franklin County Prosecutor, and he lost. He lost in the race for County Prosecutor to Shayla Favor, and he doesn't want to work, and I don't blame him. He doesn't want to work for the person that he lost to in the race for prosecutor. Shayla Favor, I've said before, I'll say it again, until she proves me otherwise, and she won't. Shayla Favor is going to be an epic disaster as Franklin County Prosecutor. And I know you're saying, wait a minute, how can things get any worse than they are under Gary Tyack, whose prosecutor's office ignores open and shut cases presented to them by Columbus police officers, who pleads everything down, who refuses to prosecute a lot of people. You've detailed on the show, Bruce, myriad examples of people who've gotten soft sentences or have not been prosecuted, or who have been let out when they should have been behind bars only to commit more mayhem. How can it get any worse than it's become under Gary Tyack? I get your point, but trust me, Shayla Favor has an agenda to go after police officers. She can't wait to persecute and pursue more Columbus police officers. And this will lead to either more violence against police officers, or it will lead to shortages of police officers because people do not want to be in a position where they are essentially required to first allow suspects and criminals to take shots at them before Shayla Favor would even consider them responding with deadly force as justifiable. That will happen. The city will become less safe under Shayla Favor. She won't admit it, and Andrew Ginther won't admit it, and Zach Klein, the law director, won't admit it. They will say, "Oh no, we are more equitable now. I mean, after all, we're going to devote the $8 million we get off marijuana taxes to a special equity initiative, letting criminals commit more crimes, letting criminals take pot shots at police officers. That's equitable in the eyes of Shayla Favor." So that's why Anthony Pearson is getting out. But if he was in on, and he had to be in on, he had to be. There's no way he was not aware that the prosecution in the case, which he led against Adam Coy, there's no way he was aware, or there's no way he was not aware that this Las Vegas police shooting expert gave an opinion. It's just an opinion, but you have to present that opinion to the defense. There's no way Anthony Pearson was unaware of that. And so he's going to go into private practice, he says. You know what? He's probably looking at this going, wait a second. I know everybody here in Franklin County who greenlights settlements to perceive victims of police violence before the cases are adjudicated in court. $6 million to Casey Goodson, $10 million to Andre Hill. And I see Ben Crump coming in here and making bank off the mindset in the all Democratic administration in the city of Columbus. And I'm sitting over here in the Franklin County Prosecutor's office making peanuts when I could be out grifting like Ben Crump, who does it on a national basis, or Sean Walton, who does it on a local basis. What am I, an idiot? No, he's not an idiot. He's going to go into private practice, and you're going to see him chasing, for much more money, further cases against Columbus police officers in the future. Bank it. Bank it. Now, we have 6 weeks before we get a replacement, apparently, from Mike DeWine. Heaven forbid Mike DeWine would say now who he's going to replace J.D. Vance with in the U.S. Senate. Heaven forbid Mike DeWine give that person 6 weeks to establish their name recognition and to get familiar with all the things that they're going to have to do when the Senate gets back in session in January. No, Mike's in no hurry. He's got cookies to bake with Fran. He's got stockings to decorate for his grandkids. He has known ever since J.D. Vance was picked as Donald Trump's vice presidential candidate that he was going to have the task of replacing J.D. Vance if J.D. Vance were elected with Donald Trump on the ticket as the 47th president of the United States. But Mike DeWine, we're supposed to believe, is still in the dark. He still can't pick between Mike Carey and Matt Dolan and Frank LaRose and Jane Timken and Mahek Cook and everyone else. I mean, it's December the 6th. We're a month and a day since the election. What would have prevented Mike DeWine from knowing his pick the day after the election? Just the fact that he's incompetent.
High today at 34, clear and cold tonight, low 22. Partly sunny tomorrow, high 39. For tomorrow evening, partly cloudy, low 33. Clouds and sun, a little bit warmer for us on Sunday, the high near 50. Morning shower or two on Monday, then cloudy and mild, high 53. It'll be cloudy on Tuesday, high Tuesday afternoon, 52. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Christmas Mortgage Miracle is back. For 7 years, 98.9 FM The Answer and the Christmas Mortgage Miracle has made it possible to win next year's mortgage or rent. This year, the grand prize is $18,000. Increase your opportunity to win by entering up to once per day and complete optional bonus tests for even more chances to win. Receive this blessing for 2025 with the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Sweepstakes. Enter to win today at 989theanswer.com. That's 989theanswer.com.
Attention patriots and all who love freedom. Are you ready to embark on an unforgettable adventure? Journey with me, Mike Gallagher, along with Larry Elder, Joe Piscopo, and Jennifer Horn on the Patriots Alaska Cruise, August of 2025. This experience is more than a vacation. It's a chance to participate in profound discussions and spirited debates with like-minded patriots. 7 action-packed days surrounded by the wonder and majesty and beauty of Alaska's rustic landscapes. Gain profound insights as you're immersed in the splendor of glaciers and fjords. And right now, it's a great time to buy a cruise as a holiday gift. You got to book through us to have access to all our events. So don't wait. Visit travelwithsalem.com. Travelwithsalem.com. Mark your calendars, August 16th through the 23rd, 2025. Secure your spot on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure by calling 855-565-5519, 855-565-5519, or online, travelwithsalem.com. We need to be realistic about our December diet. It's got to be the worst month of the year in terms of eating right. Inevitably, we'll stuff treats, meats, dishes into our mouths, leaving very little room for the right stuff. But you should be taking Balance of Nature every single day. Balance of Nature is made from whole fruit and veggie ingredients, and you shouldn't skip taking these daily supplements. I never do. So one thing I'm going to get right, because feeling good is important to me, especially in December. Join me in pushing back against the dreaded December diet crash. Get Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in capsule form. That's all it is. You're going to love it. Use my discount code MikeG. Sign up as a new customer to get 50% off, plus free shipping and their money-back guarantee. This is an awesome December discount, but you got to use my discount code MikeG. Call 800-246-8751 and use the discount code MikeG. 800-246-8751, discount code MikeG, or order online, balanceofnature.com. Use the discount code MikeG to get 50% off plus free shipping.
It is Christmas Mortgage Miracle time here at 989 The Answer, and it's also free tickets to Trans-Siberian Orchestra time and listen to any podcast you want at any time from any Salem host. It's always that time at 989theanswer.com. Yes, that is where you access all the podcasts of all your hosts, whether it's Hugh Hewitt, whether it's Mike Gallagher, whether it's myself, Seb Gorka. Seb, of course, better listen while you can because he is headed to the Trump White House in mid-January, but he's still doing radio until then. So check out all the podcasts. The Christmas Mortgage Miracle Sweepstakes, year 7. How would you like for us to pay your mortgage? How would you like for us to pay your rent? Well, you'd like that, right? Up to $18,000. If you're the grand prize winner, you can have that in your pocket. Well, actually, in your bank account or with your landlord in 2025. How do you enter? You go to 989theanswer.com, enter once per day or complete bonus entries, and enter multiple times per day, and also enter to win those TSO tickets at Nationwide on December the 26th. So it's only when I really look at the calendar and think about the fact that we are a month and a day from the election of Donald Trump as president that I get frosty about the fact that Mike DeWine still hasn't made up his mind. And he seems like he's in no hurry. He said yesterday the selection of the senator who he will nominate to replace J.D. Vance, and then that senator will run for re-election in November of 2026. Mike DeWine says it's a work in progress. Is it in progress? Is it? When was Vance named vice president? Right, that had to be like June, July, somewhere in there. Has Mike DeWine was Mike DeWine out on the campaign trail, like pounding the pulpit for Bernie Moreno? Do you remember all those Mike DeWine, Bernie Moreno tandem campaign appearances where Mike DeWine was out there saying, "Oh, we got to have Bernie Moreno in the Senate. We got to get rid of Sherrod Brown." No, you're a little foggy on remembering that. Oh, you know what? Actually, your memory is just fine. Mike DeWine didn't do that. Mike DeWine hid out the way Mike DeWine hid out when legalized marijuana was on the ballot, the way Mike DeWine hid out when the expansion of abortion was on the ballot, the way Mike DeWine hid out when legalized gambling was on the ballot, and the way Mike DeWine hid out when the redistricting commission was on the ballot. And thankfully, we finally won one without Mike DeWine's help, and we do not have the score fixed ahead of time on Democratic and Republican representation in our state house, but no thanks to Mike DeWine. He couldn't figure out, he can't possibly figure out in the time since J.D. Vance is picked as Trump's running mate and the election, or in the month and a day since the election, who he wants to pick as the successor to J.D. Vance. The candidates are Mike Carey. I vote no on Mike Carey. I vote no on Mike Carey for multiple reasons. I vote no on Mike Carey because the House majority for Republicans is already dangerously thin, and I don't want to deplete it anymore. But the main reason why I vote no on Mike Carey is because Mike Carey, and this is why Mike Carey will never answer a question on my radio show, and it's why Mike Carey wanted to speak on his own and didn't want to take questions when he was at the 989 The Answer Talkers Tour event, that he wanted the microphone himself because he knew if I interviewed him, I'd ask him why he supported the gay marriage bill. He knew I'd ask that. That's why he wouldn't sit down. So no on Mike Carey. The other name, Matt Dolan, please. He's run twice. He has been defeated twice. And hopefully he will never get access to a Senate seat, which he's tried to buy with daddy's money. But if he has the power of being the incumbent in a red state, it's possible Matt Dolan could be reelected in 2026, which, can I say, he'd be infinitely superior to whoever the Democrats nominate? I can't say that. Why can't I say that? Because Matt Dolan is the co-sponsor in the Ohio Senate of the Equality Act. Why are we even considering people like Kerry, like Dolan, who defy what the Republican Party is under Donald Trump? We have better ideas. We can defend those ideas. We don't need people with old ideas. We don't need go along, get along Republicans. We don't need them, particularly to appointed positions. I've said before, I've railed before how stupid it is that Mike DeWine and Hugh Hewitt have said Rob Portman is their favorite senator of all time. I don't know if DeWine said that, but DeWine was a senator himself. Sure, he was his favorite senator, but he has certainly applauded Rob Portman. Guess who Mike Carey says that he would be like as a senator? He says that he would be like Rob Portman. No, thank you. No, thank you to that. Now, here's a name I could live with and get behind: Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose. Frank LaRose has done a great job. He's been a loyal soldier. He's a Marine Corps veteran and decorated soldier. I'd be perfectly fine with Frank LaRose. I don't know about Ohio Treasurer Robert Sprague. Does that move the needle name recognition wise? No. Jane Timken. I like Jane. I had a chance to interact with Jane a couple times, had her on the show a couple times when she was running in the primary that J.D. Vance won for U.S. Senate. Do I think Jane Timken would be a lead pipe cinch to get reelected in 2026? I think she might get reelected, but she might get reelected only because she's the Republican who's been in the Senate. I'd like more of a slam dunk choice than that. Dave Yost apparently doesn't want it. But Mahek Cook, who's been a guest on this show, Mahek is very eloquent, very sharp, very well connected. Mahek Cook, articulate, conservative. I'd be fine with her as well. I toss my buddy Matt Mayer into the mix. Matt Mayer will be a phenomenal senator. Does Matt Mayer have name recognition? No, but I'll tell you this, he wouldn't be a shrinking violet if he went to Washington, D.C., and he would be fully behind the Trump agenda, but he would also be his own man. He would think for himself. And that's what we need. So that is where we are with the dithering Mike DeWine on replacing J.D. Vance. Now, over in Springfield, they are nervous, the Haitians in Springfield, and there are only 12 to 15,000 of them. They're nervous about Donald Trump's return to the White House because Donald Trump, of course, has made it an agenda item that he's going to get immigration under control. And those 12 to 15,000 Haitians are here because they are here on temporary protected status, which is a government program that Joe Biden instituted so that illegal aliens, non-U.S. citizens, could fly into the United States of America at taxpayer expense and settle in communities like Logansport, Indiana, Springfield, Ohio, and other places, and completely overwhelm local services and ruin the lives of working class communities. And I get it. Haiti's a terrible place to live. I get it. I totally get it. It's not that I'm without compassion on these things. But here's the deal. If we want to have a country, we eventually have to say no to some things. We have to say no to like welcoming everybody who comes in and does not want to assimilate into our culture but wants to bring their culture here. We have to say no to never, ever even looking at entitlement programs, Medicaid, Social Security, all that. We have to at least give it some consideration. Maybe there's a better way to do it without cutting benefits. But we have so many things that people say, no, we can't touch that. We can't do this. We can't do that. What has been the result of that? Sprawling government, astronomical deficits, economic peril. We got to get it under control.
Penny, a former Marine, on trial for the subway chokehold death of Jordan Neely. Jurors began their deliberations on Tuesday afternoon. Penny's lawyers argued during the trial that their client acted in self-defense as well as in defense of his fellow passengers on that crowded subway car. Penny's attorney saying their client protected them from a man who witnesses testified was shouting, "Someone's going to die today," and who said that he was prepared to go to jail. Chokehold lasted roughly 6 minutes. All of this transpired back in May of 2023. So once again, the jury in New York City in the trial of Daniel Penny has deadlocked. And on Wall Street this morning, stocks trading higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Trump's victory is just the first battle. The deep state stranglehold on our economy took 50 years to build, and they won't let it go without fighting. The damage runs deeper than most Americans realize. A corrupt monetary system, a national debt exploding beyond control, a crumbling dollar. The deep state spent 50 years rigging our system. Now their economic time bomb is nearly unstoppable. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bennett. I'm here to remind you, you are not powerless. Throughout history, gold has been a safe haven from economic corruption. My trusted allies at Birch Gold Group know this. That's why they help Americans diversify their IRAs and 401ks into gold. To see how it works, get a free info kit on gold IRAs. Text the word PREPARE to 989898 right now. Don't let 50 years of globalist sabotage destroy your savings. Text the word PREPARE to the number 989898 and protect your hard-earned savings. Again, that's PREPARE to 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 98.9 The Answer.